Afternoon, guys. What we got today is a 2007 Pontiac Grand Prix. Complaint was the brake fluid light came on and the brake pedal goes right to the floor. Now she was afraid to drive this, so I went to the house and picked it up, and the brake pedal does go right to the floor, but once it gets close to the floor you have good brakes. So let's start it up, see what we got. Yeah, the brake light's on. Now the door's ajar. But you saw that the brake fluid warning was on. And yeah, this pretty much goes right to the floor. Let me see if I can get you guys down there and get a shot of this. Alright, let's see what this does. You see that good? Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's like damn near touching the floor. But it has good brakes, so we're gonna have to do a little bit of investigating, see what happens. Alright, here we are under the hood. Let's see what we got. I started poking and looking around. You see that? That right there is the beginning of a mouse's nest. That's never good to see. Critters in a vehicle cause all kinds of trouble. But let's check this. And yes, I'm wearing gloves because I hate brake fluid. I can't stand it. It's horrible shit. Let's see here. That is almost empty. Why is it almost empty? I don't know. Nothing's leaking anywhere. There's no drips on the floor. Lay on the floor real quick and shine the light under. Yeah, nothing. You might not be able to see it, but I can see back to all four wheels here. The rims aren't wet. Nothing's wet. So, I don't know where it's going. It doesn't evaporate. We'll have to investigate this further. Okay, the first thing I did was I pulled this thing off. This line comes off of here and goes down to the brake booster right there. And I pulled this completely off, and I wanted to check it for cracks, make sure the O-ring was good. It was good. This is your, I believe, well, what'd that be? I'm not 100% sure where that goes, so I'll explain that to you later. But I believe, yes, that is your fuel pressure regulator, vacuum operated. Alright, so I wanted to check motor vacuum, and what you're looking for is, I do believe the best you can get on vacuum is around 25. But I wasn't necessarily worried about that. It's right around 20, and that's inches of water column that this goes by. But what you want to look for, too, is see how that needle's real nice and steady? That means there's no mechanical issues with the motor. That means it's in time, the valves are good. If it was bouncing all over the place, you'd have problems. Alright, so we'll shut the car off. And the next thing I wanted to do was check my brake booster. So I have a vacuum pump plugged into it. See the vacuum pump, the line goes from the vacuum pump right down to where your hose for your brake booster would go. And I'm not going to do this because it takes like 5 minutes to pump this thing up, but I pumped and pumped and pumped. I got it to 7 pounds. It held 7 pounds for like 20 minutes, so I was okay with that. So I will unplug this, and then I had some concerns maybe this hose or this check valve was bad. This check valve right here goes directly into the brake booster. And what the check valve does is, like I was saying earlier, when your throttle plate's open, you have less vacuum. So this check valve traps vacuum inside the brake booster so that when you let off the throttle and slam on the brake, you have brakes. And then once you're off the throttle, you have vacuum again because your throttle plate's closed. Let me set my phone up here so I can show you how I tested this. Alright, so what I did with this was I plugged my vacuum pump. I know it's not going to let me do it, it's going to be a bit of a pain in the butt, but put my vacuum pump in here. I put my finger over the check valve. You see that? Finger over the check valve, because the check valve will suck through. So I pumped it up. And see the needle? We're at like 22, 23 inches. It's holding. Let your finger off the check valve, it goes down. So there's no holes in my hose. So I wanted to check the check valve. Now the check valve allows air through, it allows vacuum to suck through this way. So to check the check valve, you have to check it from this way. And what you can do is just put your mouth over it and blow on it, but let me see if I can rig something up here. Make sure you guys can see this gauge, and it's upside down, but live with it. Alright, and you can see that's holding, it pumped up, that check valve's working. The other end of the hose is open, so it's got no restrictions. The check valve is doing its job. You hear it? Leak. But the brake pedal's a little bit spongy, so I'm going to show you the rig I use here. I bought this specifically for this. For bleeding brakes, you do it by yourself. Get a pressure bottle with a hand pump. Goes over, got a ball valve, and an adapter cap that fits on a brake fluid reservoir. So what you do, you take, you pump it up. See the pressure rising? You can see it pushing brake fluid through the line. I'm going to pump this up to about 15 pounds. Alright. Why is that so stinking blurry? 15 pounds right there. And we'll come back here. I want to show you how easy this is and how nice it works. We'll get a wrench. Alright. There's your bleeder. Right here. Alright, let me set up a light so we can see this better. Is that better? Not really. There we go. Bleeder right there. I'm going to take this setup here so I don't get brake fluid all over my floor. I put this end right on the bleeder. Okay? And you just stick that thing anywhere to catch the fluid. And you take your wrench, which this is a 10 millimeter. Take your wrench. Make sure you don't push your fluid thingy off. Take your wrench. Break the bleeder loose. And look. You get fluid. You can see them air bubbles. I'm going to do that till there are no more air bubbles. I'm going to go back up front, check our pressure. They're just a little under 15. You go to pump. With 15 pounds, you should be able to do 3 of your calipers. And then if you look, I've got no more air coming out of there. I think, the air got in there from how low the brake fluid was.